Greetings, everyone. This is Terry Naturally with another edition of Terry Talks Nutrition. We're here every weekend. Same time, same station. You can't miss us. Join us. And if you enjoy the program and you're getting a lot of good knowledge and education as to how you can improve your health, tell your family, friends, and relatives to join us as well. We are approaching 300,000 followers of our program. Not locally, but on the website and the radio show worldwide. Yes, you can actually listen worldwide. If you are aware of the program, you can go into terrytalksnutrition.com, click on live for the radio show section, change your time wherever you are to be on the same time as we are, centrally located in the United States. Central Standard Time. Or you can go into the radio show section and pick a radio topic and listen anytime you want, at your convenience. Take it with you. Whether you're driving, hiking, whatever you're doing, you can take our program with you. So enjoy it. I hope you're getting plenty of knowledge from all of our featured topics and all the other alternative medicine ideas. It's our job, you and I. If we want good health, we have to do good things. You just can't eat food, sit on a couch and watch TV all night, and wonder why you get sick. Oh, I'm always sick. I always got a cold. I get the flu 2-3 times a year. Or I have arthritis, or I have heart conditions, or I have heart disease, or I have a blockage in my arteries, whatever it might be. With a knowledge of alternative medicine. You know, drugs have been really around about 100 years. Natural medicine. Food is your medicine. Has been around since the first day on earth. Millions of years ago. So it's not the alternative medicine, it's the real medicine. And drugs are the alternative medicine that are not safe. They're toxic. They have major side effects. So as nature created us, God created us, and created the medicine that we would need. So if you're just picking out any kind of food because it tastes good, I like it, but you have no idea what it's doing to you. It might be loaded with chemicals, nitrates, preservatives, coloring, non-nutritious ingredients. Ooh, but it tastes good. I love it. Oh, it only takes a few minutes to prepare it. I don't have to be in the kitchen for an hour. Oh, and yeah, it was very cheap. Yeah, that's a good sign. Convenient, cheap, and pleasurable. That tells you that it's not good for you. And good food can be good for you and taste good. A nice, great big salad, maybe with steak bites, or tuna, or salmon, or some other protein food on top of your salad. Delicious. Topped off with olive oil. Oh boy, that's great. Love it. So you can eat well, and it tastes well, and you will be well in time. That's all we have to do, is get rid of the junk, get rid of the excessive refined carbohydrates, get rid of the sugar, and switch to the Mediterranean diet, or the paleo diet, or the ketogenic diet, and all of your conditions, if they haven't gotten to a point where they are so damaged, your joints, in your joints you may have bone on bone. That's not going to change. I'm sorry. But you can take a natural pain-relieving alternative. Natural. With a blend of curcumin, boswellia, DLPA, nattokinase, 4 ingredients that relieve pain naturally, stops pain naturally, stops inflammation naturally. That's what nature is. Not drugged, not with more side effects. Each drug has side effects. And sometimes a doctor may have to prescribe a drug for the side effects because they are so serious. So we can change our lives by changing what we are doing, whether it's good or bad. Good changes, good health. Bad changes, bad health. You make the decision. You make the choice. Decide what you want. Just let me tell you that you can change. Change to a healthy diet. Get some exercise, 3, 4, 5 times a week rather. Stay off the couch. I'll watch a little bit of TV. It doesn't hurt. But don't make it what you do every day. Find things to do outside. Or if you have an exercise room in your house, or if you have some kind of equipment in your house to exercise, you can do kettlebells inside. You can do kettlebell squats, kettlebell swings. You can do a lot of things with the kettlebell to get more exercise. Just 10 minutes a day is enough to make a change in your life. So we have a tremendous ability to change our lives. So today we're going to talk about your arteries. You can't see them, but they have a huge impact on your health. And we'll talk about how we can maintain good, healthy arteries and a healthy heart. And then we will talk about the Mediterranean diet. And just remember, it's not just for adults. Kids love it too, or should love it, and will benefit from it too. And the younger we start being healthy, the longer we're going to be healthy. And why should we want to reduce inflammation? Well, inflammation is not the enemy. Inflammation is a healing project. It goes to sites in the body where there is damage, injury, harm, whether it's to the cells, joints, organs, glands, wherever there is damage, you'll find inflammation. Now, the inflammation didn't start the damage. It's there to put it out. The fireman doesn't start the fire, but they are there to put it out. And inflammation is not the culprit. It's not what's causing all the damage. We have to find what you're doing wrong or what you did wrong that caused the damage, oxidative damage, injury, cellular damage, or whatever it might be that causes inflammation to go to the site to repair it. So if you do everything right, you don't have inflammation. There's no reason for it. But if you slam your finger in the car door that causes inflammation, your finger is going to be hot to the touch. It's going to be swollen. It's going to be painful. That's all the site and the action of inflammation. Now in time, week, 2 weeks, your finger is healed. No need to have inflammation there. So the inflammation subsides. You can't find it. It's gone. So slam your finger in the car door again, and you're going to have more inflammation. Now that would be dumb, right? But we do dumb things all the time. The number one cause of inflammation in the United States is the diet, American diet, and obesity. They're the two major causes of inflammation. Why? Because the American diet is a pro-inflammatory diet. It causes inflammation. Inflammation has to go there and undo the damage done by the American diet. Excessive seed oil, commonly known as vegetable oil. But none of the oils are made out of vegetables. I don't know wherever that came. There's seed oils, soybean, corn, peanut, safflower, sunflower. These are all oils that are very, very high in omega-6 fatty acids, and that's pro-inflammatory. Carbohydrates, pro-inflammatory. Sugar, pro-inflammatory. The American diet is a pro-inflammatory diet. So inflammation goes there. Try to put out the damage. But if you have a whole city block on fire, it's going to be darn hard to put out that fire. And you're going to bring in fire trucks from around the city, around the country, if it's such a big fire. And the more that we depend on the American diet, and we are obese, the more inflammation our body will have, and in time, that inflammation causes more damage. But it's not the start of the inflammation. It's not the root cause of inflammation. The damage is, whether you slam your finger in a car door, or you smoke, or you're obese, whatever it might be, that's the cause of inflammation trying to help you. So we don't want to put out inflammation. We want to look for the cause of the inflammation. And then constipation should be actually taken very seriously. There's a reason. And the nutrient of the day, we'll talk about iodine. Iodine is a mineral, and it primarily works and functions with the thyroid gland. Now, there's 3 science-based reasons, or I should say maybe backed reasons, why we should eat more protein. More protein than carbohydrates. Now, moving a little bit better is better than moving not at all. 10 minutes a day, or 10 minutes 5 times a week, makes a difference in the health of your body. 10 minutes. You could breeze through that. And then really, what is whole grain? And are grains good for us? So let's start with our featured topic today, your arteries. Arteries are blood vessels. Arteries carry oxygenated blood away from the heart. And the veins carry oxygen-depleted blood back to the heart. So the blood is drawn away from the heart that is oxygenated, increased oxygen of the blood. And the veins carry that oxygen-depleted blood. It's used up all the oxygen back to the heart to resupply. Now the heart and the veins feed tissues and organs, and the artery does the same. But the veins flow back to the heart, and the arteries flow back to the tissues and organs. So if you have a diseased artery, well, let's take a look at healthy arteries first. They're soft. You know, arteries are like a pipe. You have the circular, healthy arteries in our body. And the arteries are like a hose. A hose can be very, very... Have you ever seen on TV this new hose that just shrinks up and depletes all the water when you shut it off? And it never can tear. This guy is just raising the praises out of this new hose. And it's light as a feather. I have a hose in my front yard for watering some of the flowers, and it's so light you can hold it up with one finger. And it's soft as can be. Well, healthy arteries are exactly like the same as the hose in my front yard. Very soft. The inside diameter of the arteries are very clean. No blockage, no plugging. They're rubber tubes with flexible sides. Now, diseased arteries, they're stiff. They're thick with clogged plaque. This clogged plaque is the combination of fat, unhealthy fat, inflammation type fat, and calcium. Your diseased arteries mean a 10 times increased risk of health problems associated with stroke or heart attack, and a 22% increased risk of death. Now, healthy arteries, nice blood flow, low risk of heart disease. Now, if it's partially blocked, it's narrowed by atherosclerosis, plaque, increased risk of heart disease and stroke. Now, if you have a very blocked artery, the plaque buildup in the lining of the artery, blocked arteries that can lead to stroke and heart disease. We need to keep our arteries clean. If you had a hose that was clogged with mud and you just had a trickle of water coming out, that's a blocked hose, like a blocked artery. Your blood is just barely flowing. Now, here's a little bit off the subject, but something to be pointed out. It has been estimated that 50% of men between the ages of 30 and 70 cannot have an erection. Why? Well, to have an erection, it doesn't come from your thoughts. It doesn't come from wishing. It doesn't come from wanting. It comes from blood flow. When blood flows into the penis, you have an erection. No blood, no erection. Now, this is a pretty good sign. That means all of your body is not getting the blood flow it needs as well. If it's not in the penis, it may not be in the heart. You may not have good circulation in your legs. You may not have good circulation anywhere in your body. And circulation is how we take all the nutrients, the oxygen, and feed it to the entire body to feed it, to nourish it. If you want water in your house, you want clean pipes. If you're using a hose to sprinkle your yard, you want a clean hose. You don't want it blocked by mud or dirt. And you don't want your arteries blocked by calcium and inflammation. So here are some key vitamins that are very, very important for healthy arteries and a healthy heart. You can't have a healthy heart if you don't have healthy arteries. You can't have an erection without having healthy blood flow. Circulation. Now, what are the key nutrients? Vitamin A, called retinol, retinol, retinol. That slows the progression of inflammation leading to the heart disease. Vitamin A, not beta-carotene. Beta-carotene does not work. Beta-carotene is not vitamin A. It can be, under the right circumstances, in a perfect world, in some people, because beta-carotene has to convert to vitamin A. And they say, well, beta-carotene is vitamin A. It's not. It can convert in the body to vitamin A, but that takes a different process, and not everybody can do that process. But if you do have natural retinol, vitamin A, that's straight vitamin A, Doesn't have to be converted to vitamin A. It is already vitamin A. And it slows the inflammation that leads to blocked arteries and heart disease. Now, vitamin D3, not D2, D3. D3 keeps arteries flexible, soft, pliable, flexible, and reduces inflammation. And it blocks a hormone that increases blood vessel damage and constriction. Constriction means getting tight, right? It constricts. And that can lead to increased blood pressure. When your arteries are blocked and you have severe constriction, they're not pliable anymore. They're not flexible anymore. And that can lead to increased blood pressure. Now, there are some other nutrients that can help decrease blood pressure, lower blood pressure, like grapeseed extract, olive leaf extract, and aronia berry extract. Those three are very, very effective in lowering blood pressure over time. Don't take it for a week or two and get a blood pressure measurement and see what it is. It'll take 3 months. Even for a drug would take 3 months. Blood pressure is slow because you have a lot of damage to undo. And if you don't undo the damage first, you're not going to have a healthy blood flow that reduces the pressure. And then vitamin K2, called minoquinone, helps direct calcium away from the blood vessels, away from the arteries. And it does not enter the arteries and help to be plaque, where it can lead to hardening of the arteries or arterial calcification. Arterial calcification, hardening of the arteries. And it is not getting to where it really should get, to the bones. It goes to the arteries and not to the bones where it is most needed for strengthening the bones. So you want to make sure that you take a combination. Look for vitamin A, vitamin D3, and vitamin K2 in a formula because they work synergistically. They work together. If you have a number of parts in your car engine, they all have to work together. They all have to be synergistic to each other. And vitamin K2, vitamin D3, and vitamin A work more effectively than one by itself. If you just take vitamin A, it's not going to do the same thing. If you just take vitamin D3, it's not going to do the same thing. Vitamin K2, together, they have an impact that individually they cannot do. So let's look at the research. A 5-year study of over 400 adults in Australia, those with the highest plasma of retinol, vitamin A, levels had the lowest risk of heart disease. Did you ever think that? Did you ever realize that? Now, that's what we want you to get from listening to the show. Why these work, how they work, and why we need them. We need vitamin A because it lowers the risk of heart disease. Do you have enough vitamin A in your diet? Do you have enough vitamin A in your supplement? Are you taking vitamin A? Heart disease patients receiving 25,000 IUs of vitamin A as retinol daily versus a placebo group, the vitamin A group had 0.87-fold in decrease in markers of inflammation associated with heart disease, while the placebo group had a 1.17 increase in those same inflammatory markers. I've got more coming up. I have more studies and why you should be taking these together to really make an impact in lowering heart disease and stroke. No one wants that to happen to you. I don't want that to happen to you. I'm trying to get a message across to you that maybe these will make some difference for you. But I'm running out of time in this segment of the program. I'll be back. I'll be back today. Don't go away. But commercials are coming up. And I need to take a pause here. But I'll come right back right after these messages. Just to let you know, this is Terry Naturally with Terry Talks Nutrition. Here for you every weekend. Be back right after these messages. And welcome back, my friends. This is Terry Naturally with Terry Talks Nutrition. We're here to the top of the hour. We have about another 27, 25 minutes, something like that. And then we're going to, sorry that we're going to have to leave you for the day, but we'll always be back here every weekend for you, for more enjoyment for you, to be able to understand why this is so important for you. Such good information. Now I want to tell you about a new study of over 26,000 people found that compared to vitamin D levels, listen to this, just listen to this. You wonder why we are sick? Because very few Americans get all the vitamins and minerals in a quantity that's necessary for healthy, optimal levels. Now, most of the levels that have been approved by the FDA for vitamins and minerals is to keep you in somewhat healthy condition, but optimally not. Now, here's a study of 26,000 people found that compared to vitamin D levels, those with low D levels had a 41% increased risk of death from heart disease. If you had known that, that could save your life. If they were really healthy at the start of the study, if they already had heart disease. Now listen, they already had heart disease. Now they had a 65% increased risk of death without vitamin D. If you're healthy and you don't have any problems yet, but now you have low D levels, D like in dog, low levels, you have a 41% increased risk of death from heart disease. And if you have heart disease, and you are low, still low, because your doctor's not going to tell you to take vitamin D for your heart. If you have heart disease, the doctor is going to think, drug. Let's get this person drugged up. Then you'll have a 65% increased risk of death. The number one killer in America. A diet high in vitamin K, as K2, menaquinone, has been found to reduce arterial calcification by 50%, cleaning your arteries out by 50%, reduce risk of heart disease by 50%, and reduce overall risk of dying by 25%. It's totally amazing. So I want you to know this. To keep arteries smooth, flexible, free of plaque, clogging. You know, you go to the doctor says, oh, your arteries are all clogged. They're blocked. You have 90% blockage. Then they do surgery. They do whatever they have to do to open up that artery. But we can do it as well. And with the right combination, the vitamin A, the vitamin D3, the vitamin K2, I would also throw in grapeseed extract, Because in research on grapeseed extract, the French grapeseed extract, it reduced the plaque in the artery. Already there was plaque, but it reduced that plaque by 35% in 12 months. Now, 12 months is a long time, right? It's a year. But you may have this accumulation of plaque over decades, 30, 40, 50 years. You can't undo that much damage in a week or a month. That's hardened plaque. And the grapeseed extract can lower your blood pressure, taking off that pressure, taking off that damage. So you want to keep your arteries smooth, flexible, and free of blockage. No clogs. So take a daily combination of 5,000 vitamin A, 5,000 vitamin D3, and 90 micrograms of vitamin K2. If you're really relatively healthy and you have no diagnosis of heart disease, 1 capsule daily. If you have heart disease, it's already been diagnosed. Maybe you had a heart attack. Maybe you had a slight stroke. Take this combination, vitamin A, 5,000, vitamin D3, 5,000, vitamin K2, 90 micrograms, and take 2 a day. Double the dosage. You're not healthy. You got to raise the level of the nutrients to undo the damage. Now, we talk often about the variety of diets, the ketogenic diet, the paleo diet, the Mediterranean diet. Well, let's talk about the Mediterranean diet, because it's not just for grown-ups. It's also for kids. So this is a very interesting subject to get kids to a better, healthy lifestyle. So a new study finds that following a Mediterranean diet can be as good for kids as it is for adults. Why not? It's a healthy diet. Researchers analyzed the results from 9 previously published studies that included almost 600 kids ages 3 to 18. Kids age 3 to 18. They found that kids who ate a Mediterranean diet for at least 8 weeks, doesn't take much, were less likely to be overweight and had lower blood pressure levels than kids who ate a standard American diet, SAD. Yep, a sad diet. Earlier dietary habits affect long-term health outcomes. Unfortunately, kids who have follow a poor diet are more likely to grow into adults with diabetes and heart disease. A bad diet, originally with kids, is a precursor of a type 2 diabetic or an individual with heart disease. And recent studies report that calories from an ultra-processed food make up about 70% of a typical teenager's diet. The Mediterranean diet, paleo diet, ketogenic diet, it's a medicinal diet. It's our medicine. It's been medicine of humans for millions of years. And we've only gotten into having all this heart disease, strokes, cancer, arthritis in the last 100 years, where drug therapy has been implemented to correct the conditions, when diet can easily do it. Food is our best medicine. Always remember that. So I give a little bit of a discourse at the beginning of my program about inflammation. Inflammation is not bad for you. It's the only thing that'll heal your injury. Inflammation comes to the site of the damage. You twist your knee. You turn over your ankle. You slam your finger in a car door. All painful. All damage to that site. And now you have pain. You have heat. You have redness or discolorization. Might be black and blue. That's all inflammation at work to correct the damage. You don't want to stop inflammation. You want to look for the course or the cause of the inflammation. Well, we know it in an injury, we know it. But in heart disease, we have inflammation. We don't know it. But if you have heart disease, you know you have inflammation. Any disease internally has inflammation because it's trying to repair the damage. But the damage comes from the American diet. Seed oil, because it's so very high in omega-6 fatty acid. Switch your oils. Use avocado oil, olive oil, pecan oil. All those are good oils. Macadamia nut oil. I choose olive oil because not only is it an oil, but it is the only oil that is so high in polyphenols, flavonols, that cure the body. Our body is healed by the flavonols, flavonoids, anthocyanins, all these compounds known as polyphenols that can correct the damage in your body. So why reducing inflammation is so important for you and your health and increase your longevity? There's no question. So it's really critical. Actually, I could say inflammation is your body's defense against toxins, injuries, infection. Whatever happens to us negatively is a cause for inflammation. And always inflammation should be temporary. When the damage is healed, we have no inflammation and no requirement for it, no need for it. If the fire is put out and the firemen hang around for a while to make sure that it's completely out, they can leave. They're like inflammation. They're there to temporarily put out the damage. The inflammation process should end when the injury is repaired. But nobody gives up the American diet, or very few people give up the American diet. And the American diet is the number one cause of inflammation in the body. Obesity has been pointed out by experts that it's the new smoking. We know how much damage is caused by smoking. We know that. Smoking causes so much damage to our body. It causes so many different kinds of cancer. Now, inflammation should be temporary, right? Should end when the injury is repaired, or the damage is repaired, or the injury is repaired. Chronic inflammation, that means it's there all the time. It's chronic. And why do we have chronic inflammation? Well, it occurs when the inflammation process continues for months or years. Well, yeah, we eat the American diet for years. And chronic inflammation then leads to disease. Not to healing. It sets off many other types of problems, like arthritis, diabetes, dementia, and even cancer. So we want inflammation to be only temporary, not chronic. So since the American diet is so responsible for obesity and damage and inflammation, we need to lose weight and get the weight down to a proportion to our body structure. No big bellies, no pot bellies. All that fat leads to inflammation. All the fat cells are actually spewing out inflammation. So we want to get healthy. I'm sure you've all seen pictures either on Facebook or somewhere else of people walking around at the beach in the 1970s. You can't find an overweight person on the beach. And now if you go to the beach, you won't find a slim person on the beach. Our lives have changed in about 60 to 70 years. This is causing all of our diseases today. So eat an anti-inflammatory diet, a diet that does not cause inflammation. And here's why. In a new study, researchers compared dietary intakes in almost 9,000 adults ages 60 and older. Then gave each participant or the subject of the study a series of tests to evaluate their mental function. The participants who had the highest intakes of anti-inflammatory fruits, vegetables, nuts, and tea had the best mental function and were over 20% less likely to experience dementia versus people who ate a large amount of inflammatory processed foods. That means food can change our health. Make your diet a diet of fruits, vegetables, nuts. No, we don't eat nuts at just Christmas time. People do eat nuts every day. You may not, but now is the time. Nuts are very, very healthy. And I'm not going to talk about nuts overall, but they have a major impact on heart health. Nuts are very, very healthy, and they have a good supply of natural healthy fats. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, olive oil, coffee, tea, wine. Not excessively, a glass or two a day. And these people are 20% less likely to experience Alzheimer's disease. And then another study I ran across, using an animal model of inflammation. When a specific inflammatory pathway was blocked, it extended the animal's lifespan by 25%. For humans, this would be it would be the difference between living to age 95 versus age 75. You might want to say, well, I don't want to live to be 95. The way I feel terrible. I'm ready to go. No, because you can change that. You can change your health, that you'll be vibrant, healthy, sharp, agile, have the mobility that you need to live to be 95. And you won't be crippled up and hampered, unable to navigate the steps or jog or run or do anything. At age 75, you can make it to 95 in good health. Are you constipated? Well, if you are, it should be taken seriously. It's just not the inability to have a good bowel movement. So for good health, you got to go regularly. Emptying the colon. Having a bowel movement is how the body rids itself of the waste and toxins, poisons. Chronic constipation That means 1 to 3 times having a bowel movement in a week. And if that's the case, that increases the risk of heart disease and a stroke by up to 20%, and a risk of dementia by 73%, and a risk of depression by 48%. Chronic constipation is the root cause of many of these diseases: heart disease, dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and depression. And also can be linked to diseases like Parkinson's disease, type 2 diabetes, and even cancer. Here's a great herbal combination that has been used for thousands of years. Yes, literally thousands of years. It's an Ayurvedic medicine, a medicine from India to restore digestion and regularity. A randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study of 50 adults with gastrointestinal issues, primarily constipation. Half of the group took 800 milligrams of an herbal combination, 14 Ayurvedic herbs, like Andigraphis, as one of the main herbs of the 14. Or half the group took a matching placebo. Both took it for 14 days before bedtime with a glass of water. At the beginning of the study, only 12% of the subjects, adults, experienced more than 3 bowel movements a week. By the end of the study, the herbal group increased to 76% of participants having more than 3 bowel movements a week, and no change in the placebo group. And additionally, the herbal group that took the 14 herb combination experienced 75% reduction in abdominal pain versus no change in the placebo group. 50% reduction in indigestion versus no change in placebo group. And 77% reduction in acid reflux versus no change in placebo. I would suggest to take 800 milligrams of this combination. It contains turmeric, Andigraphis, sarsaparilla, long pepper, ginger, curry tree, licorice, and others. A 14 herb combination used daily. The study was done with 2 capsules containing 14 herbs before bedtime with a full glass of water to restore gastrointestinal function and reduce constipation, diarrhea, gas, indigestion, bloating, abdominal pain, acid reflux. Very, very effective way to increase regularity, indigestion, gas and bloating, all of these conditions. And therefore, you can avoid the chronic use of laxatives. Laxatives are not healthy. They're there to give you some relief, but they're not a cure. This 800 milligram, 14 different herbs will correct your condition. And laxatives can lead to dependency. Bowel stops functioning normally, as well as bloating, cramps, and nausea. This is not a way to go. The way to go is to regulate the bowels, and that makes it much, much more effective. And unfortunately, my time is up today. I've just got about a minute and a half before we have to scoot out of here. But I hope you have all a fantastic day. you have a day that is wonderful, and know that you can change your life. You can change your health. If you're suffering, you make the changes. And I hope you learn enough on this program to start making those choices, to know what to do when you have these problems. And it doesn't take a lot of sacrificing to make these changes. But it's much, much better than going the drug route. Now, I'm not saying go off your drugs. That's between you and your physician. I don't know your case. I don't know whether you need drugs. And sometimes we do need drugs. But we're taking far, far too many drugs and not making the natural changes we should make to include the diet, exercise, good sleep, and all the other natural principles that we should adhere to. But we can do that. And every day make something new today in your life that's going to make you a new health. So, my friends, I'll be back again tomorrow. So stay tuned. Say a prayer for this crazy, crazy world. God bless you, my friends. And God bless this great country.
Thank you for listening to Terry Talks Nutrition Weekly Show. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, including Apple, Google, and iHeartRadio.